Yeah, this is Chef Carl, by the way, from Kitchen on George. How you doing?
Doing all right.
I would actually, I would maybe feel almost guilty if I won $1 billion for doing nothing other than buying a lottery ticket. I don't know. What do you think?
Couldn't hurt.
It could. Well, you know what? It couldn't hurt. And I do have 5 chances to win the Mega Millions tonight, so I might not be here tomorrow. But if I do come back, we're always going to be cooking great stuff in the kitchen. What are we making today?
We're going to make an oyster stew.
Okay.
With conecuh mashed potatoes.
Sounds fantastic. Now tell us before we get started a little bit about the Kitchen on George.
Kitchen on George, we support Culinard, the Culinary Institute of Virginia College. We basically offer a teaching lab, if you will, to give the students from Culinard, both the pastry arts and the regular culinary arts students, a place to basically take what they're learning in class and kind of putting into real practice with real customers, real restaurant, real food.
And where can they come find you?
351A George Street. We're on the corner of George and Savannah in the Oakley Historic District.
And it's easy to remember because that name George is in your name.
Well, there you go.
There you go. All right, so what are you going to teach us this morning? What do we got here?
Well, I think we are very fortunate and very blessed here on the Gulf Coast because we have some of the best seafood in the world. Mm-hmm. And I'm of the opinion that Gulf seafood is the best in the world. And here in Alabama, we can take advantage of that. And what we're going to basically do is I'm going to show you some things that we do at Kitchen on George, utilizing Alabama Gulf seafood that you can do at the house.
Sounds great.
So it's very easy, very simple, and at the same time, it's very good.
I love to get that fresh local seafood whenever I get a chance and try to cook something with it or go to a local restaurant and try something out. So I see you got the potato there. What do we need to do to get started?
Well, basically we're just going to make a simple mashed potato like you would any other time using, again, fresh ingredients.
Okay.
Nothing overly complex here. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're just going to skin this real quick.
Do you know if you won $1 billion, you wouldn't even need a wheel? You could just buy a plane.
Everybody asks me if I ever won something like that, what would I do? And they go, "Oh, I bet you'd quit your job." No, I'd actually probably show up to work the next day.
You know what? I joked about that earlier, but I think the same thing. I would probably still, because what else do you do then? You just sit around all day, just watching movies? I don't know. Playing original Nintendo games?
I got to tell you, at the end of the day, it's cooking is something I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
Utilizing, again, Alabama Gulf seafood is something I'm very passionate about, and it wouldn't matter if I had all the money in the world or no money at all. The fact is, I'm going to be cooking, again, fresh Gulf seafood.
All right.
So again, just like we normally would any kind of mashed potatoes in the world, we're going to sit there, we're going to put it in the water, and we're going to get that heating up. And we're going to bring it to a boil until it's fork tender.
All right.
That sometimes takes as much as 20 minutes, depending.
All right, so we've got a little while, and we can wait until that gets fork tender and then start working on the next step in our process here with Kitchen on George. We'll check back in with you in just a little while.
Excellent.
Back in the kitchen with Chef Carl Tilley, and we are making something that smells so good. He's from the Kitchen on George. This morning, oyster stew with conecuh mashed potatoes. He's been going to town. You know your way around the kitchen, sir.
Well, thank you.
All right, so where are we going to go from here? I see that we've been working on the potatoes.
Right. Well, what we basically did is, while we were away, we basically finished the mashed potatoes. We took some conecuh sausage, and we browned that up just a little bit. And just like you would any normal mashed potatoes, whether you use cream, milk, or whatnot, we've got that in there. We've got butter, we've got salt, pepper, and, of course, our browned conecuh. And at this point, the mashed potatoes are pretty much done. And we kind of start thinking about the star of the show, if you will, which is our seafood. Okay. And, again, here in Alabama, we're very fortunate, very blessed, I think. We don't have a big coastline. It's only 53 miles. But in that 53 miles, I think, we have some of the best seafood in the entire world.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's a great resource out there for the folks from Alabama Gulf Seafood, which is eatalabamaseafood.com. They've got some great things on there, not just recipes, where to go to get good Alabama Gulf seafood, how to get a charter boat to go fishing. I mean, everything you can think to do about Alabama Gulf seafood, it's a one-stop place, which is kind of neat. And we are really big about that. And, at Kitchen on George and teaching the students who come through from Culinard, hey, we want to use the local product. We want to use conecuh. We want to use, again, Alabama Gulf oysters, which these are Alabama oysters we're going to use today. So I'm really excited about it because, again, it's something that we use on a daily basis.
So you have some oysters. What else do we need?
All right, well, we're going to start with a little bit of butter in the pan. You could use oil, but quite frankly, I think butter's got a little better flavor.
Okay.
We're going to let that melt. As that begins to melt, we're going to throw a little just yellow onion in there. Nothing really fancy.
Loving some onion.
And then we're going to put some Creole seasoning in there. You can use Zatarain's, you can use Tony's. It doesn't really matter who you use, just to get a little flavor.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to soften this up a little bit.
Okay.
And then we're going to start adding the fun parts of it. We're going to take Alabama Gulf oysters. Now we're going to keep the liqueur, the juices, if you will, that comes with that. And we're going to add all of that in there.
Okay.
Well, most of that in there.
All right.
We're going to get those oysters in there. A little more of that liqueur.
Okay, that's the main part.
We're going to hit it with a little bit of Worcestershire.
Always makes it good.
A little heavy cream.
Okay.
Because you got to have
Now
it.
you're talking.
We're going to throw a little bit of parsley in there.
Make it pretty.
And then, of course, there's this certain sauce from Avery Island, Louisiana, that I like to throw in there.
A little Tabasco.
That you may know as Tabasco. And then we're going to get this cooking for a few minutes. We're going to let it reduce to the right consistency, and we're going to have a very nice product.
Hey, speaking of Louisiana, I read that you're a big Saints fan. Did you see the new study that just came out from Emory University this morning that says Saints fans are the happiest NFL fans of all the fans?
I can believe that. You know, when you look at the culture of the Gulf Coast, when you look at the Creole, the Cajun, and the rest of us, shall we say, there's this thing in the Cajun culture called the joy of living. And it basically, in every aspect of their life, there's happiness, there's joy. And that's also true in their cooking. And that's one thing we try to do, again, at Kitchen on George with the students is, hey, this is fun. This is a great career. And using good, fresh Alabama Gulf seafood, that's joyful. And so we basically, it's almost like preaching a sermon, if you will, to the congregation with the students because, again, it's something I'm very passionate about and something we love because, again, we're very fortunate to have this great resource here in Alabama.
Passionate about food, passionate about the Saints. I know they had a big loss over the weekend to St.
Yeah.
Louis. How do you think they're going to do this weekend? They're playing North Carolina.
Well, we're going to Carolina. I was actually at the Dome 2 weeks ago when Carolina was there, and we whooped them. I think we're going to whoop them again.
All right, there you go. True Saints fan. So if you want to know more about the chef, more about the food, you can find all of that information on fox10tv.com on our Studio 10 page.
We are back with Chef Carl from Kitchen on George. Tell the folks what we're working on today, Chef Carl.
Again, we're doing a oyster stew utilizing, again, fresh Alabama Gulf seafood and with conecuh mashed potatoes.
All right, sounds good. And looks like we're pretty far along in the process here. We've got the stew here. We've got the mashed potatoes here. What's the next step?
At the end of the day, it's just putting it all together. And what we're going to do is we're going to just get a little bit of the mash. Put that right in the middle of our bowl there. Mm-hmm. And we're going to take our stew and just pour that over. And then, like we like to tell the students from Culinary, we like to put a little greenery on the scenery, a little bit of parsley, and some freshly cut scallions.
There you go.
And there you go.
All right, looks fantastic. Now, if you want to find out more about Kitchen on George, what you said is that you're a great facility for education and teaching kids how to cook, well, teaching anybody how to cook, basically. Tell us a little bit more about that and how they can find out more about you online.
Well, online, a couple of ways. One, of course, kitchenongeorge.com.
Very simple.
Very easy. You can also check us out on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, of course. And, of course, just a reminder, check out eatalabamaseafood.com. Just a wonderful resource for all things to do with Alabama seafood.
Man, those websites are too hard to remember. kitchenongeorge.com and eatalabamaseafood.com. Doesn't get any better than that. So this recipe is online, and you teach everybody different things to cook, lots of different things to go cook and try out. And you also, people can stop by and eat as well.
Yeah, love to have you. We do dinner service 7 days of the week. We also do a Sunday brunch. And like I said, love to have anybody come out, and we're going to be actually running this dish for the next 5 nights.
This is a special right now, so if you'd like to try out some of this, make sure you check out the Kitchen on George. Thank you so much for coming in, Carl. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll be right back with more Studio 10.